I can't imagine you've been doing this your whole life. So how did we get to this point with what
Right.
you're doing?
So it's really interesting. Like, I've been applying for all these accelerators in Baltimore, and they're like
Yeah.
making us do these mindfulness travels. And through those things, I've learned that sometimes as adults, we become who we think our parents needed. So
Mhm.
I've
Mm,
realized, like, when I was in college, that a lot of my girlfriends, I went to Spelman, historically Black college,
yeah,
affluent, and most of my
right?
girlfriends, like, their parents were able to leverage their house to pay for their schooling. My parents couldn't do that. Like, they didn't own their first house until after I bought my first house.
Wow.
So just
Yeah.
recognizing that, and the
That.
fact that people were getting houses when we graduated, and I was like, bro, I have like $60,000 in debt. Like, what? It
Right.
was, you know what I mean? It was kind of
Right.
unimaginable, but I was right there
Mhm.
seeing it. So it's like, well, how do I put myself in that position, and why am I not already there? And, just started investing in real estate in Baltimore, found out about
Yeah.
redlining and how,
Oh,
like, systematic it is. And I just kind of poured into it. It's like, oh my God, everybody that I see in Baltimore that is homeless looks like me. Like, this is a problem when Baltimore
huge.
is, relatively a half and half kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is it that I see so many people that look like me redlining? And housing, it shouldn't be a weapon, it's a vital sign. You know what I mean? So if we can give
Yeah.
housing to everybody, like, the community will be stronger, period.
Right.
And so I found
Absolutely.
myself here, like, in my for profit. I was targeting first time home buyers, rehabbing homes in Baltimore using
Right.
my retirement fund. So I was,
Wow.
halfway teaching people how to do that. But my
Right.
background is computer science, IT. Like, it just, like, I saw generational wealth and housing as a tool to move
Isn't
forward.
it? 100%. 100%. And redlining, blockbusting, all those unethical practices, I mean, they are unfortunate, like, they're still happening. But you drive around Baltimore, and it's the real estate market in a lot of ways that has
Yeah.
shaped a lot of this. It's a lot
Yeah.
of really bad practices that have been historically treating the wealthy white families.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all
And
tied in education then. I mean, it's
it's
all a
all, but
mess,
education, food, your
right?
diet, your health, your doctor, your physician, like,
It's
everything, even
all
your
access to
pharmacy.
your grocery store, the food deserts. I mean,
It's like, it's all intertwined. And when
mhm,
I started the nonprofit, I'm like, okay, well, if we do tiny homes and urban development and workforce
right.
development, and, just piling all these things on, that would be bomb. And in my eyes, it was like so clear. But
Yeah.
talking to people, they're like, how are you going to do that? Like, tiny homes aren't even legal. Like, you don't know anything about workforce development, urban gardening, like, you're an IT person. And it's
And you're
like,
like,
yeah.
but I know, and I'm gonna do it.
And I know
Let's
people.
figure it
I
out.
don't have to know everything, right? I'll figure it out. I know a guy that know a guy. I promise. Like, somebody knows
Yeah.
somebody that can point me in the right direction with this crazy audacious goal. But to me, it's not crazy and audacious. Like, they're doing this in California and have been doing it for 20, 30 years. Like, tiny homes started in the 80s. They became
Right,
really big in the early 2000s. And now, they're more mainstream. So it's like, get on the
right.
bandwagon. Let's go, Baltimore.
I know. How have you been met now that you've done? How many have you actually constructed and that are out, in Baltimore?
So we've constructed 3 different prototypes, and now we're changing from our 5x7 model to an 8x8 model. And we're going
Okay.
to put 4 of those 8x8 models in Baltimore City this winter. The other
Oh,
models
wow.
have been installed more so at public places for people to view and see and touch and feel.
Right.
Um, and in the meantime, I also work on this initiative called the Shelter Suit. and it's
Okay.
more or less like a sub-zero sleeping bag, but kind of a
Wow.
snowsuit that turns into a tent. It's like the MacGyver.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
It
the
does all
yeah.
things.
It does all the things. It's a little Swiss Army knife of living, and they're only like
Yeah.
$150. So, so that again,
Yeah.
the
Approachable for people. That's so easy. That's so
right. If you
easy.
can't do the
Yeah.
micro shelter, your group can't do a micro shelter. Let's do a shelter suit or a couple of them, and then me and my I don't know, volunteers, friends, program managers, whomever, we go out almost every weekend and distribute either brown bag lunches, toiletries, feminine hygiene, or PPE. So one way or another,
Yeah.
as people donate to us, it goes right back out the door.
It goes right out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's everything. It's not just the actual micro shelter. It's everything else that goes along with that. So
Yeah.
for the naysayers that said you couldn't do it, what do you what do you feel now?
I
Like how
say,
is that
come on out
reception
and
been?
volunteer. Like, let me show you. Because even when they were naysaying, it was like, I hear what you're saying, but come volunteer. Like, I hear what you're saying, but do something about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I'm being pleasant, but I hear your alternatives, but put your money where your mouth is and do something. Like, come and tell me why this isn't going to work and then show me how to do it better. Otherwise, I don't care about what you have to say.
Yeah. What is the climate like now? I mean, with COVID, I remember just at the very beginning of it, because I don't live in Baltimore. So driving through, I didn't see anybody outside when I was driving through Inner Harbor, just like here and there. And now all of a sudden, now that the summer's gone and like COVID is, everybody has 10 masks. We all have our names
Yep.
embroidered on our masks, and we all have, this easy access to match our masks with our outfits. But there are people that don't have that access, and then they're moving into the winter months. So what are we going to do?
Right.
I
So
mean,
I've been,
there's a massive homeless population, and there's not enough beds in shelters
no,
for
no,
them.
there's not. They're so documented. You know what I mean? Like homelessness is
Right.
so transient, but documented homelessness is about 4,000. Like my issue with that is we have over 16,000 vacant homes. So like it's
Right.
almost like, guess what, we can kind of solve homelessness if we had the budget to fix the home. So if we're
Right.
not going to start there, let's infill the lots with micro shelters and tiny homes, and
Right.
build up the neighborhood, create some sort of market there, and now start investing into the homes that are dilapidated and are going to
Right.
take $200,000, but the market only bears 95, whatever the case may be. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we're
I do.
totally upside down. Like there's
It's so
no
upside
way it's
down.
gonna fix itself. Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a there's there's so many layers to it, and I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but it's like the homeless population is at the bottom, like they're the last thought of.
No,
the
but
la-
you're
like,
right.
we talk about like what's happening in Remington. Like there's massive gentrification happening, and these people
Yes.
are getting pushed out of their own neighborhoods, and they don't
Yep.
have access to be able to sell their home. And actually, like, where are they going to go then
Right.
after that, when they can't afford the cup of coffee at the shop that has been there for 15, 20 years? And then like that's what we're looking at. But then you go down, it's like the homeless.
It gets worse and worse and worse.
Where are
Yeah.
they going to go? We're eventually going to gentrify all of Baltimore, and then
Right.
what?
Right. Never mind where they're going to go. Even now during COVID, like shelters
Right.
aren't even operating at full capacity. So what now
What?
what? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just this
Right.
crazy dichotomy of awfulness.
I know. This is like not the interview part, but like what I want to be, I want to be able to do something about it. I want to be able, I don't know, because I'm
Yeah.
all over these different neighborhoods, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I've been
yeah,
talking to a guy who his idea with tiny homes is specifically in Baltimore is to address redlining and the fact that single housing or residential zoning has an
Mm,
issue, and maybe we
mhm.
can, wrap the fact that tiny homes needs to have its own policy into fixing the redlinedness of it all, in addition to looping
Yeah.
in tiny homes and fixing.
That sounds brilliant. I wouldn't know what step 1 would be, but
Me
it sounds like
either.
I mean, wow.
Me either.
Okay.
And again, I just get
Yeah.
lucky that people like that and like you seek me out. You know what I mean? Like, all I can do is just keep
Yeah.
providing housing and hope you guys keep finding me.
No, I mean, for you to have like the actual tactful ability to do what you're doing, I mean, that is absolutely like your God-given talent. That's how you were born. That's what you were born
Right.
for. And I'm not that, but I want to help you however the heck I can. General turnaround time, let's say I give you like we sponsor the home. When start to finish, when does that get completed? And in between there, what volunteer work do you need? How can other people that maybe can't donate financially donate of their time to help?
Yeah. So now that we're building the 4 shelters, so you donate today, then the
Right.
volunteers come Saturday and or Sunday. And we start putting the frame together, we put the platform together, and the next time they come, so that probably takes like 1 weekend. The next weekend we meet on site and start assembling the frame and the platform so that the shelters are at least a foot off the ground should the snow fall, as
Right.
well as some space big enough because they have bikes and tents and stuff like that. Let's
Yeah.
elevate those things too and kind of make it like a little patio deck, something kind of cute. But relatively speaking, if we have 10 to 16 people, regardless of their skill set and usage of tools, we can get that done in 3 weekends.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Have you gotten any feedback from the people that are using them?
No, because it's always temporary. It's just like long
Right.
enough for them to see really quickly, maybe take a nap in, like not even a full night out, because there's a liability issue with should the shelter start to run away on the wheels, especially since Baltimore City isn't supporting them. It might be a little different
Right.
if there was more support from Baltimore City. And their issue, which I understand, is
Right.
one, these aren't tied into any of the utilities, which means they're not getting money. They can't guarantee that, services are being provided. But again, my mentality is if people are sleeping on the street, what difference does it make? So we're approaching it from both ends. They're like, well, you should provide safe housing. Awesome, I will. Solar heating, hand generators, these things that we can plug into a wall, they can do from solar power. Renewable energy
Right.
exists, but even still, Baltimore's like, great, tie into our system, and that's really expensive. That's a bulk of what the problems are with a
Right.
lot of the existing infrastructure. So
Right.
it's
So you can't just put them wherever you want anyway. You can't
no,
just put them where they already are. You can't.
nope. And so with
Wow.
the village that we're working with now, like, technically speaking, we don't own the land, but the
Right.
garden has been there for over 5 years, and the villagers have been there since the beginning of COVID. So we're really just kind of adding on piece by piece, and no one has yelled at us yet. So
How do you continue to feel motivated? Because you just are always running into these roadblocks. Like that would be very easy for somebody to give up.
giving myself time to feel, and then realizing that I can't continue to feel or stay here in this position for, an extended amount of time. But I will spend, 2 or 3 days in my pajamas and just, not deal with the world, like just
Right.
turn it all off. Too much social media, too much, too much,
Right.
too much. Another thing that keeps me going is to know that it's happening in California. Like,
Right.
I didn't pull this out of my butt. It exists. It exists, people. I
Yeah.
can point to it. I know the people. I can send them an email. If you want to talk to them, Baltimore City, let's get the conversation started. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow. That's nice to know. Like it can just be scaled to our local environment. And gosh, with the cold weather, I mean, today is just one of those examples, you know,
It really
it's
is.
freezing. It's
Oh my
freezing outside.
God. When I woke up this morning, I was like, why is it so cold? Usually I sleep
It
with my
just
window
happened.
open. Oh my God, it was the worst.
I hope I get to meet you like in real life at some point. And I mean, just you say the word and I'm there. I want to help. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank that.
So
I love that. You
thank you.
have a
And
good
I hope
one.
you, thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye bye.